past war, you know, I'm on all these telegraph channels. It's been really hard this past year watching this. It's just been every day waking up and just seeing dozens of dead kids and just brutal. And then you see the Israeli pages when they're laughing and mocking them. I just saw yesterday they're doing boat tours in Israel where they're going out and laughing at the kids getting blown up and talking about how they're going to take the land. It's just like, I just never seen evil like this in my life. It's just hard to believe this is real. I think it's really woken a lot of people up in the last year.
It really has, yourself included. And, you know, having been there 21 years ago, first time, and then living in Gaza, imagine how it has felt for me knowing that this is happening and that the world is paying no attention. And even the Arab nations are all abandoning their Palestinian brothers and sisters. These people are the descendants of Jesus, of Nazareth. That's Palestine. It's in the Bible. And yet the world is turning their back on them. I have said over and over, Gaza is coming to you. And it is. People think that we're always going to have food in the shops. We're always going to have fuel at the petrol gas station. We're always going to have water running from the tap. Guess what? The Palestinians don't have any water because they bombed all their water supplies. They've cut off all supply lines for food. They have locked them into a prison of which they cannot escape, and they bombed them, telling them, go over here, it's safe. They go over there, bam, they get bombed. They're on the beach now where there's nothing. They're living in the sand on the beach, trying to squeak by with little ramshackle tents, and yet they bomb them there too. They've been doing it in the last few days. They're not stopping.
Yeah, and you've actually seen this with your own eyes. You weren't there during the peak of a war, but they're still doing it, correct? They're still killing people. And
I was there in 2008. I was there in 2010. My job, actually, I'm an actual journalist, and I didn't do it for money either. I mean, I have a problem with, like, sitting down and hearing somebody talk about a story where half their family has been murdered. They're lying next to the corpses of the bodies of their loved ones. They're going out with white flags trying to get help from the medical services to help the family members that are still dying. When you listen to people tell these stories, do you think they want to keep recounting this story daily?
No.
No. And am I going to make money off of this for you to tell me your story? So I was living in Gaza.
You're going to lose a lot of money off it. I've lost a lot of money for speaking out against Zionism.
Yeah, what I've done is a choice. I've talked about this before, but I actually took a sort of unwitting vow of poverty. I equated in my younger years that if I was doing this truth-telling stuff, but it was profit-motivated, that it would diminish the integrity or the value or the humanity, the noble qualities. So I really all over and over again, even when I was rescuing green sea turtles in Hawaii as a dive instructor, I could have sold that footage for money. What was more important to me was to have all the media report the story, and over time I was able to get them to manipulate the story, and that led to the creation of a marine sanctuary. But I could have made money. I didn't monetize any of this stuff because I genuinely have a commitment to truth and justice. This is my commitment. Peace, that's the end of the truth and justice process. In fact, fuck your peace without justice. I'll die, thank you very much, before I will bow to your shit and allow myself to live a good life while, there's 20,000 dead kids in Gaza?
Yeah, at least minimum. I mean, Lancet saying potentially 200,000 dead people. And
Really?
That's the most prestigious medical journal in the world.
The Lancet. I said that on an interview recently. Like, you know, they tried to catch me. Well, do you accept Hamas figures? Well, how about we just look at the Lancet?
Yeah, that's the most prestigious journal in the world.
And they're English. So, you got a problem with the Lancet? So where are you getting your numbers?
Because there's so many missing that they're not counting in the dead. If you're missing in Palestine, you're probably dead.
Yeah.
Because like the Gaza Strip, what is it? It's like 3 or 5 miles long and like 20 miles long. It's like in a prison. They're engulfed in there and they're just being bombed. They have nowhere to go. People are like, oh, just leave. But they literally have nowhere to go. They're just being slaughtered.
You know what? I'm here in Vegas and you have helicopter tours and stuff, right? So you watch these helicopters go by, and I've known this for a long time. You know what happens to the children in Gaza when they hear a helicopter?
They know they're about to get bombed.
They have a trauma. It's built in, and it's absolute. It's not paranoia. They know at any point a missile could come, a bomb could drop, and they could be done. There are children in Gaza, going way back before all this, that wet their beds at night. Imagine, because they're in such abject terror. Imagine being a father, right? Imagine this. Your father.
We're both fathers, so we know how. That's
Yes.
why this affects us so much, I think.
Imagine being a father in a place like Gaza. One, the way that you feed your kids is through aid. There is no jobs. They've been cut out. They have no infrastructure, nothing to be. They're such educated people. They value education far more than the Americans do. If they were allowed to take their scholarships, they have Rhodes scholarships and all sorts of stuff, but they can't get out. Imagine being a father. You're not able to get. I know doctors that are janitors going back over a decade ago because there's nothing available. And imagine not being having the ability to be able to provide for your family.
Yeah, that's the worst feeling as a father.
And combine that with you can't protect them. Can you tell your child it'll all be okay?
No,
you can, but it's not actually true. You kind of have to look to God then because, and this is what the Palestinians have. I swear, and their enemy is the antithesis of godly. If anything, they're satanic, which would explain what they're doing. The Palestinians, and they're not all Muslim, by the way. There's a Christian population.
They bombed the Christian churches already.
The oldest Christian church in the world was in Gaza, and all of the Christians, not all of them, but many of the Christians took refuge. And what did Israel do? They bombed it, killed them all. So they don't want any Christians there. They want people to think they're all Muslims.
Because the Americans might see that and relate more, so they potentially kill the Christians.
That's right.
Another thing I want to add is, like I said, you can't protect your kid, but not only are you getting killed, there's a good chance you're going to get buried alive and die a 3 or 4 day death, being crushed or having your legs crushed. Most of them aren't dying nice deaths. They're getting like an arm blown off and they're buried alive, stuck under there for days. You can hear them screaming. You know, it's hard to watch those videos. I can't go every day and check because it's just you see these videos. People are screaming down there. They're coming out, missing arms. It's not just that you're going to die and be over with. It's you're going to die a brutal death. And when they arrest people, you know, they're torturing them, sodomizing them.
It's diabolical. You've lost all humanity. If you feel this way, I mean, listen, as a Marine who's been in a war, I remember, you know, the thinking of my, comrades, my fellow Marines, and we have terms like sand nigger or towel head and things. So you dehumanize your enemy. This is par for the course. So I saw that, and I can honestly say that I wasn't infected with that ideology, but I definitely went to that war thinking like I'm a Marine, I'm a machine gunner, infantryman. You know, if we're going to get into any firefights, if we're going to get, we're going to be the ones. The Marines are the first ones in, last ones to leave. But the dehumanization of the Palestinians on behalf of the Israeli side is the next level, boy. This is they've called them human animals.
Yeah, all kinds of things like that. They're very clear they want to kill them all, and they're very clear they want to take their land. They don't, in Israeli media, they don't hide it. In U.S. media, they do. But if you watch the Israeli media, they're very clear they plan on taking the land. They constantly show pictures of greater Israel.